Good morning, Carter Elementary superheroes! Finally, March is here. Did you know that March is National Reading Month? As a school, we're going to work together to read as many books as possible to celebrate National Reading Month. There's going to be some really fun prizes for the entire school if we can meet our goals. Your teacher will be talking to you to explain the rules, the reading chains, and the prizes. Well, I wanted to help kick off Reading Month by reading one of my very favorite stories. So right there, sit back, relax, and get lost in my story. The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by Jon Scieszka. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, but you can call me Al. Well, I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, this whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This, my friends, is the real story. Way back in once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny, and I had a terrible sneeze and cold, and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't just want to walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. Oh, and that's when I felt my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze. And do you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down, and right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been there the whole time. Well, it seemed a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner just lying there in a straw. So I ate it up. Think of it like a big cheeseburger just laying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have a cup of sugar, so I went to the next door neighbor's house. Now, this neighbor was the first little pig's brother, and he was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house. Ding dong. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, you in? He yelled back, listen to this, go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you are not going to believe this, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it like a second helping. Well, I was getting awfully full, and my cold was feeling just a little bit better. But I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. Now this guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he had his house built out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. So I called. Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Listen to this. Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. Well, I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake. When I felt my cold coming on, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. And then the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin. Oh, well, now, I'm usually a pretty calm fella, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, well, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner, and they figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the whole story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down stuff. That's it. They made me the big bad wolf. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar.